Eragon and his companions followed the Azrogni until it joined the Edda River, which then drifted into the unknown east. Book 2, Eldest. Chapter 19, Arya Svit-kona, and Chapter 20, Ceris. Welcome to Eragon and Back Again, a podcast where we explore Christopher Paolini's inheritance cycle chapter by chapter. I'm Darien Smartt.
And I'm Lucy Hart.
And we get a etiquette lesson.
Yeah, we do.
But before that,
Yes.
Lucy,
Yes,
do you have a spark of inspiration
I do.
would you like to share?
Yes. Yeah, it's like a geode spark of inspiration kind of connected.
Love it.
So, when I entered that like writing contest, I finally got the results back.
How'd that, yeah.
It went really well. I didn't win, which I wasn't expecting to. But I found out that I did make it through round 2 of the
That's
judging.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there was 3 or 4, it might be stretching it, but I'm pretty sure there was like 3 rounds of judging. So I like made it there. Which to me, I'm like, wow, I wasn't expecting to make it through the first round. Excellent. And I really liked the feedback. It was pretty much everything that I thought when I submitted it. I'm like, oh, the story is missing this. I'm just going to submit it anyway because I can't look at this anymore. But they wanted like me world building and stuff like this. And part of it was also like I did kind of leave that open because I did think I'm like whatever the audience thinks, like I want the audience to kind of fill in those gaps. This was an intentional choice, and it was like, I mean, that's also like I didn't really explain my like how my Merfae looked. Like I didn't give her any like defining features or anything. I gave her like big she had like sea glass green eyes or something. But I didn't really describe anything more of that. And like part of it was I'm like I kind of want the audience to kind of like explore with like what that is, because I'm like I had like the first paragraph like kind of I like you helped me with that too, with the suggestion and how like there are fae in this world and stuff like that. And so there is a I kind of put in a line where it's like the main character like saw them but never really talked with anyone before. And so I'm like you can tell them apart from humans, like that you can tell them apart. But I never really explained like what that was, and I did kind of want to leave that up to imagination a little bit. But I also can see like I'm like, no, I feel like I can understand why they wanted that. So I'm like, that's fair. And then they wanted does she have to return to the sea? Because I have her like chilling on land for a really long time, and I never really described like her going back to the sea to like recharge or why she has to return to the sea. And I was just like, it's whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah. But it was overall, I was really satisfied with that. I made through round 2, and the feedback I got was really nice, and I really liked it. So I was very happy I did that.
Yeah, that's really awesome, Luz. Thank you for sharing. I think it's really, I want to give you your flowers for sharing the follow-up of that experience and then the feedback you got. I think that in creative spheres, it can be tempting to only share successes.
Oh, yeah.
Because one, rejection hurts.
Yes.
And coming up, having not reached the ultimate goal of like winning or success or publishing like that sucks. But also it's a very real and true and genuine part of the creative process, especially in putting your work out there.
Yes.
And in never being willing to share those stories, we see a lack of that experience. And so it can make, I think, creatives feel very acutely like, I failed because I did bad. No one else has to experience this. I just must not be good enough if everyone else is always going out there and getting it. Like, everyone else is always batting 100 and I'm the only one who ever strikes out. Like, that can really feel like what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not that.
Yep.
And then there is always something to be gained from an experience.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
that,
of course. It was the big thing about like why I didn't world build so much is because when I had to like it had to be like under 2,000 words. Or something like that.
Yeah.
And I ended it with like 1,994 words or something. So I'm like, there's literally no way I could do any of that.
Feedback for you should have done more world building feels odd in that sphere of having such a short word count, because then you really need to prioritize one thing over another.
Yeah, so it was like, but they were all like, oh, their relationship was so good and I loved the characters and they were so wonderful, and I was like, awesome. But they were like, yeah, the world building, and I'm like, yeah,
if it had another 1,000 words, maybe you would have been able to do that.
1,000 words, yeah. But I'm just like, all right, that's fine. Also, world building is, I will admit, not a strong suit for me. So I'm like, yeah, that tracks. So, but it was good. I was satisfied with that. So
Nice.
very
I'm
happy
glad.
with it. Yes. What is your spark of inspiration or geode?
Oh, I don't have any geodes currently. My spark of inspiration is, I really hoped it would come by now. I hoped if I just started talking, it would come. I would just have it. I'd just be like, here it is. I always have one.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no. I guess I will share a geode. I guess because I do make things. I actually make things all the time.
Yeah.
But I view it so separate as like whenever I've shared like actual writing and stuff.
Mhm.
But so over from uses of mythology, one thing I do for the Instagram and socials to maintain like a presence on the algorithm
Yeah.
is that I just like 2 years ago started making lip sync videos
Yeah.
where I would just go to my closet and find outfits that would work for a Greek deity. Initially it was only goddesses, but I've branched out since then.
Yeah.
And then just here's this audio that makes me think of Athena or Aphrodite, or would be a really funny like Hestia thing.
Yeah.
And just have my own internal like narrative and interpretations for each of these figures. Like
Yeah.
Athena is the burnt out eldest daughter type, right? And some people really don't like that. They're
Yeah.
like, no, Athena's great and she's perfect and how dare you? And
Yeah.
it's like sometimes she gets to be like Athena of like Hellenistic myth, and
Yeah.
sometimes she's the burnt out eldest daughter who just wants to take a goddamn nap. And Hestia is just aggressively ace arrow, but
Yeah.
also will fight you.
Yeah.
Artemis is Aphrodite is a girl's girl, and
Yeah.
people really hate that. They really hate the
Yeah.
idea that Aphrodite would support women, and I'm
Yeah.
like, nah, see, we don't fuck with the myths that are written by ancient men who hated women.
Yeah.
Like confident women don't tear other women down to make themselves feel good, and why would the goddess of love and beauty be anything but the most confident?
Yep.
She would love other women. She
Yep.
would praise other girls. She would want to see them succeed because that is what true confident women do. But yeah, recently I introduced Aries.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited about that because I wasn't new to Aries
Awesome.
for the longest time. I didn't have a good take on Aries. And then I read, I guess this is also I guess this is actually Spark of Inspiration. I don't have this anymore. This was a while ago, but I'd been ruminating on it. Is a like a short comic someone drew about Aries
Mhm.
and an interpretation of Aries, who was like, a god of war, right? Of
Yeah.
like violence and bloodshed on the battlefield. And Athena is like, the wisdom and tactician of war.
Yeah.
But like another way of looking at is like Athena is the war of leaders who want to maintain a status quo and enforce their laws. And Aries is a war of the people who have no choice but to fight back when those laws have failed them.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that is an Aries I was interested in exploring.
Yeah.
And so I have found a lot of audio that is like very social cause for change and justice
Yeah.
and combating the system. And the very first one I did, I was like, this is the one I'm going to use to introduce my Aries, is from Britton Lee Mulligan's audio from a Dimension 20 episode.
Yeah.
Where he's like, listen, I don't know what your kids are up to, but I do know one thing. Laws are threats by the ruling socioeconomic ethnic class of any country. They're just promises of violence to be enacted, and police are basically an occupying army. You know what I mean? You kids want to make some bacon? And I'm like, yeah, so that's my Aries.
I love that.
So I guess that's
so
my
good.
geode, is that I recorded a lot of, I did a recent batch of recorded a lot of videos. I was up really late, and I did a lot with Aries and exploring this theme and
That's
this
so
idea.
fun.
And
I love that.
because I also finally found a jacket that I thought this will work. It's like kind of an olive, not like a combat, like it's not like a military jacket, and I didn't really want to lean into like a camo aesthetic.
Yeah.
It was like an olive jacket, and it felt kind of right for more like a character who'd be like at a protest, like
Yeah.
social justice type vibes. And I was like, okay, what do I want to do with my hair? Well, I want to be Aries. Okay, I'll braid it. Braid feels good 'cause I
Yeah.
have long hair. I'm not going to try to make myself look like I have short hair because
Yeah.
I don't. But I feel like a braid feels right for
Yeah.
this. Anyway, so this looks like Katniss Everdeen. Is the punchline.
That's great.
So there may be edits to the Aries design because
I love it.
I just look like Katniss.
Oh my goodness.
I'm a brunette with long dark hair in a braid, wearing like an olive jacket.
Oh
I
my
look like I'm cosplaying Katniss. So that's my geode. Is I'm making really fun Aries videos that I'm excited to engage with this interpretation of Aries, and also I accidentally cosplayed Katniss last week.
I like that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, it did. When you mentioned the jacket, I'm re-listening to Taz Amnesty, and so I was like, Aubrey?
Oh, yeah.
Lady Flame?
Lady Flame?
Lady
That's
Flame?
a good one, too.
Anyway, but
gloves. Ooh, leather gloves would be really good.
Fingerless?
For, that
almost
fingers like biker
I do
gloves.
like the biker, like from Percy Jackson, the like motorcycle biker kind of little aspect on that.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Yes.
Okay, let me. Here we go. I'm in the wrong Google Doc.
No.
Arya Svit-kona. As they approach the forest of the elves, Arya pulls Eragon aside for a crash course in elven etiquette. There's a lot to learn. The lesson ends when Eragon, attempting to show support, offends Arya instead. An apology smooths things over, and Arya reveals the real reason she's been acting more out of sorts than usual. It's because she's afraid.
Yep.
Ceris. Entering the deep woods, the party soon encounters other elves, who are overjoyed to see Arya and Saphira, seeming at most amused to meet Eragon and the dwarves. The elves take over escort duty, and as they'll be traveling by boat, Eragon sends Snowfire back with the dwarves.
Do they never actually give like a good goodbye?
Like they have the one dwarf guy we like with the name. He kind of warns Eragon. Shurgnine. Yeah, he warns Eragon. He's like, hey man, listen, elves are weird because they'll like drink with you in the day and then stab you in the back at night. So just keep your guard up. Keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
Do your homework. Stay in school.
That's fair.
And then they take Snowfire.
Yep.
Because they're like, we're going to be on boat. Okay, hold on. No, Arya Svit-kona first.
Yes.
I can't get into Snowfire.
We can't get into...
We'll skip ahead and then we'll never go back and this episode will be all out of sorts.
Yeah.
Arya Svit-kona. So, elves... on one hand, I'm like, Arya, feels like we could have been doing this the whole time. Like, really late. Arya is crashing out.
Yeah.
Like, we are not, like, she is not okay.
No.
She is so, listen, I didn't mention this in the thing. So they're getting close. They've been taking boat. They can't take boat anymore. They're like, okay, well, they got donkeys, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, they've been on boats the whole time and it hasn't been a problem with Snowfire. I guess they've been on barges.
Yeah, it's been more
like
of
on a
like...
wider, because they have like housing on the ship. So it's more of like a
barge. Yes, that's kind of my thing too. Yeah, and like I feel like or that would be a Ceris conversation.
God damn it! It tricked me. She's been weird.
Yes.
They're going back on land. They're gonna go towards the woods, and they're like, "All right, we got some donkeys." And Arya's like, "I will not go back to the land of my people on the back of a donkey." Which, like, okay, fair. There's like some symbolism there. There's the optics.
But that's like that was kind of. I also did not like that implication.
But it's like not a knock on the dwarves because she's not being like, none of us can ride donkeys.
Yeah, but
she's just like, I personally cannot be seen on the back of a donkey.
Yeah,
and there is like a visual optics and idea of a donkey being less noble than like a horse.
Yeah,
and so she's like, I'm just gonna run.
Yeah,
and so she does.
Yeah, which is I'm like fair because I'm like she might think that's how she might feel like it's too slow on it
because it does sound like she keeps like running ahead and waiting for them.
That's my other thing is I'm like she just feels super on edge. It never says she's on edge or she never says she's on edge. She just feels super on edge. So I think that she might be a little restless.
It says with every step she seemed to grow tenser.
Yep.
And yeah, it's like it does kind of feel like, hey Arya, I believe you whole like I don't want people to see me on the back of the donkey. That's fine. Are you also like running because you just kind of need to like
get the energy out,
like running and just like not be inside your head. You need to constantly be moving because you're crashing out.
Yep.
So when you have a friend and they're like, hey, they're always working out because they're so freaking out, but they don't want to admit that they're just like, I keep going to the gym or keep going on these crazy long runs.
Yep.
And it's like, are you okay? And no, they're not.
Yeah, that's kind of it's that vibe. And I'm just thinking like her being still on just like a plodding along donkey, like a donkey's just minding its own business, just walking along. I feel like she'd be just like restless the whole time. She's like, no, I got it. So I think on point.
It's on par. Also, like, while she is probably capable of running like she is, like, it's not She's not lagging behind, of course. She's more than capable of doing it. It still has to have a level of physical demand. Like I don't think even elves who could run for hours probably can't run forever. And so this probably is like wearing her out and doing, at least giving a strain on her body.
Yeah.
Which she's still like kind of recovering from everything she went through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, our girl's crashing out. And finally, she just, like, pulls Eragon to the side one night, right before he's about to go to bed.
Yeah, which is, like, again, maybe not the best time. Like, right before we're gonna meet a bunch of elves, I'm gonna tell you across course. And by the way, like, the line that got me, that, like, what you said during the, like, oh, yeah, there's, like, a lot to know. And, like, what does she say? So long as you do not forget, you'll do well enough. So don't forget the mountains and mountains and mountains of information I gave you, and you'll do fine. It's like, okay, like I would be doomed. Me personally, I would be dead. I would insult people left and right.
We're gonna have another blood. Eragon already has a blood feud on his head. He didn't even do anything. He just showed up someplace and people were mad.
Oh my god!
But the reason she describes it is because we get like. We're getting our first insight into elven culture, which Arya has been like so tight-lipped about. Like every time Eragon has tried to ask a question about elves or Elismira or her life or anything, she just is like
deflects,
ignore, walk away. I don't want to talk about that. And so she basically says like, hey, dwarves and humans are really alike.
Yep.
Like, you have differences, of course. You're different cultures. But you, as a people, y'all are pretty similar. And, like, Eragon didn't need a crash course in, like, dwarven etiquette before they went to, like, the dwarven city. You just had to be, like, a polite, respectful person, and it was going to be fine.
Absolutely. That's kind of what I was thinking, too. I was like, Eragon was very polite during his time there, and that seemed perfectly okay.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, yep, nope, totally golden. Fine. I also, like, just real quick, too. This is I thought this was a really interesting, I feel like almost a direct connection with Lord of the Rings, because the elves, when Bilbo or somebody talks to the elves and they're like, how can you can't tell the difference between a human and a hobbit? And they're like, well, like all immortals look alike. I don't like and he goes, well, I think we look really different. And he goes, well, I'm sure a sheep and a flock of sheep will say they look different, but you all look the same to us or something. It's like the elves commenting that all, like, elves, dwarfs, hobbits, they all look the same, and they can't really tell them
also
apart.
Just the comparison of like a flock of sheep, that means they just view them as the same. They don't see them as distinct races of beings.
Nope.
They are. It's not like, oh yeah, a single sheep and a flock of sheep. It's like, yeah, but sheep are all the same creature.
Yeah.
Hobbits, elves, and dwarves are actually all very
distinct.
They're not the same creature, but the elves saying that just means to communicate. Yeah, and also I view you like a sheep. Like, one,
it's
I don't
not
see
great.
you as distinct from one another, and two, I definitely view you as lower and lesser than
and so it's so that the comment where Arya mentions like, oh, dwarves and humans are very alike, it kind of echoed that in my brain. I'm like, oh, that's kind of world structure, very similar. Yes,
but the other thing she says is like, she's trying to like communicate elves are different, and everyone's like, what do you mean? They're just like, they don't have emotions. Like, everybody's got emotion. It's like, that's not what I mean. Because elves live for so many years, we consider courtesy to be the highest social virtue. You cannot afford to give offense when a grudge can be held for decades or centuries. Courtesy is the only way to prevent such hostility from accumulating. It doesn't always succeed, but we adhere to our rituals rigorously, for they protect us from extremes. Nor are elves what is this word?
Where are you? I'm trying to... Fecund?
F-E-C-U... How do I pronounce it?
Fecund?
Fecund.
Nor elves fecund.
Yeah. Nor are elves fecund, so it is vital we avoid conflict among ourselves. If we shared the same rate of crime as you or the dwarves, we would soon be extinct. Because, and this is just me learning what the word fecund means, it's the ability to produce offspring quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, humans, like the whole of the animal, even the mammalian kingdom, don't produce offspring very quickly. And it takes a long time for our offspring to grow. It's like over a 9-month gestation period. And on average, you only see one kid per gestation. Of course, like twins, triplets, quadruplets. Like there are times where more kids are, but on average, you're likely only going to get one kid per night. That's not very often.
Yeah.
sounds like elves are even less than that.
Yeah,
We don't know, but it does say, hey, if we even just got mad and killed each other, we would go extinct.
Yeah. I'm also thinking like there might be a connection between what she said about like etiquette being the highest and like making it like nobody wants to really hold a grudge because that could last for centuries. So that makes me think that kind of in the same thing where relationships to them are like viewed in such a different manner, where it's like if you're going to commit to someone, you commit because you might be with them thousands of years or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it has that almost same implication where like the relationships between the elves are vastly different between like dwarves or humans or something. They're just
I could also see the opposite because I don't know either, but I can see the opposite being true is because their lives are so long lived.
Yeah.
Why would you commit to your entirety of your existence?
Oh, that's true.
To one experience?
Yes, that's true.
Wherein like maybe you're with someone and you are like, I'm happy with them now, but like the understanding is that should that ever change, our lives are long.
Yep.
And we have the ability to make other choices and do other things.
Yeah, and then having a kid like in that might, I don't know.
Or they just literally don't, or whatever, like the elven fertility cycle is so much slower.
Yeah, for sure.
Or whatever. Yeah, we don't know. We don't get it. But that's essentially like the justification for why elves have so many social rules of etiquette and navigating like social situations is because, like what she says, if we get offended and angry and react harshly, that is not so quickly blown over.
Yep. And we almost, I was going to say almost saw it, but we did see it when the dwarves made the very like, when they tied the hair around the ring and threw it at Eragon's feet. And then later they're like, that was really not thought out of that they did that because they just did it on a whim.
Yeah. It's like the idea that elves wouldn't do that.
Elves would not do that, according to Arya right here. It's like they would have thoroughly thought out the reason for that, or maybe gone on this like long pathway of trying to talk and like talk it out, or I don't know, something.
Or probably they wouldn't have that feud at all.
Yes, yeah.
No, or it's so deep. Or it's like it's so deep, but it's not with Eragon.
Yes.
You're not the guy. So that's also very interesting is like how it also begs the question like you know how like if your friend doesn't like someone, you're like, great, fuck that bitch.
Yes.
I don't like them either because ride or die.
Yep.
Right? I don't need a reason. I'm just here for you.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Maybe elves like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like maybe elves are more just like, oh, well, just because these two, I don't want to, maybe more like a very much like, I will not be involved in that.
Yeah.
Like I cannot get into a feud, a grudge that will last centuries. Like that is not, because with friends, it's usually just like, I'm showing my support, my love of you. Yeah. I'm matching your energy.
Yep.
Let's go. But it's never going to escalate to anything.
Yeah.
And usually it's like just becomes like a whatever.
Yeah.
But like with elves, it could be like, no, that's a very real commitment to make. And it will not be made unless it is truly, it's not just like, we don't like this bitch at work because she's kind of rude and shows up late every day. Yeah. It has to be, no, they have sincerely done harm or wronged you.
Yeah.
And that, like, it has to be a bigger commitment to be
Yeah.
like, oh, of course. Or maybe not. Like, I don't know. But it's like, that does, like, bring up really interesting, like, what do elves, like, interpersonal relationships with other elves on every level, from, like, romantic to familial to, like, friendship.
Absolutely.
What do those look like with this as their, like, this constant social intricate dance and longevity?
Yes. And I mean, that goes on, like, Eragon, like, to even further that, like, during, he's learning all these, like, different ways to, like, greet and stuff. And I gotta find it because it's really, I also like the Saphira doesn't have to worry about any of that. It's like, oh, as a dragon, none are higher than you in our culture. Not even the queen would claim authority over you. You may do and say as you wish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dang.
Because there's, like, rules for, like, who speaks first, and the person who speaks first is the person of lower social hierarchy.
Yep.
Unless you want to pay deep respect to someone, then you would speak first. And so it's like, okay. It's like, well, what do I do? And it's like, well, if you're not sure, don't say anything. And if they don't say anything, then you say something.
Yep.
Okay, got it. And that's when Saphira's like, what about me? He's like, don't worry about this. This does not apply to you.
Yep.
You are a dragon.
You are a dragon. Do not even stress about it.
Eragon struggled to remember the sundry modes of address that Arya instructed them in. The salutations varied from man to woman, adults to children, boys to girls, as well as by rank and prestige. It was a daunting list, but one that Eragon knew he had to memorize perfectly.
Yep. I can't remember why I wanted to find that line, but I feel like that describes it.
I feel like it really encapsulates, like, oh, it's not just like please and thank you to everyone. It's like as if please and thank you, but there were dozens of words and you would use them for different people of different like situations and depending on their hierarchy to you.
Yep. It's the very intricate, like, trying, again, I think that was like going back to like trying to avoid insulting anybody, so you have to address the right person with the right words in order to show respect. So it's like
and I love that Eragon says, with all your customs, it seems as though you've only made it easier to offend people. A smile flickered across her lips. Perhaps, you know as well as I, you will be judged by the highest standards. So like that's the other thing, is when she says, oh, hey, like a grudge could last for centuries, so we have these rituals to try to avoid that, which is interesting because an alternative would be, rather than developing strict codes of etiquette and behavior, it could also have been like, oh, if we want to avoid holding grudges, we simply do not. Yeah. Like, rather than if you are offended and we don't want to risk that escalating or being held for decades or centuries, elves took the path of creating a bunch of rules and regulations to try to avoid the offense ever taking place, rather than a different approach could have been, and not to say it should have been this, but I was just thinking about it, is that the society could, another long-lived society could have instead developed a rigorous what is the words? Not habit, not protocol, but like toolkit for navigating offense. Like strong communication skills. Yes. Like if you feel slighted by someone, you do not internalize that and hold on to it. Instead, you give them the opportunity to make amends. Yes. And if they continue to slight, then you deep meditate and you work through and process your feelings of hurt, and then you let them go, and just the actual risk is that you have no longer will to contact this person because they've demonstrated that they will not be respectful. Like that, rather than developing a lot of rules, you could have a society that instead addresses, because what it feels like is that they are not addressing the actual cause, which is if our feelings get hurt, we never ever let it go. So instead of developing the emotional toolkits for regulating that response and becoming to like a healthy outcome, we will just try to avoid that ever happening, because if it happens to us, we'll never let it go. Ooh, yeah. So that's what I think I'm trying to say. And I'm not saying like, oh, Paolini should have done this. Like, that's not what this is. Yeah. I was thinking about like, what would the alternative be if instead of we need to do everything we can to prevent the offense, not because it is the right thing to do, not because we should try, like what we said earlier, Eragon could just be polite and respectful, and everyone in the dwarves and humans get that, like, hey man, he's doing his best, and we're going to be like chill about that. That's understood. That we are assuming that everyone is approaching this with goodwill. Yeah. It feels like the elves don't have that. Yes. They don't have the ability, or their society does not develop an idea that there is an inherent goodwill to be extended if you don't follow these rules. We need these protocols because we don't have that. Yep. And because our feelings are so easily hurt. Yeah. Because we feel things so quickly and rapidly and deeply. And I think that's what we see, if we may skip ahead just for a moment. Yeah. When we actually see the elves and how they laugh with delight and they dance and they sing and they're so full of emotion. Absolutely. That a slight could escalate so quickly. Like, it sounds like perhaps elves are not good at regulating their emotions. Yeah. And so if their feelings are hurt, they are very quick to escalate a response. And so they just try to avoid ever having to reflect on why they're feeling a certain way and work through their feelings. They'll just avoid anything that might create a negative feeling. Yep. And I mean, that's proven with Arya's reaction, I think, when Eragon swinging back around to Eragon, trying in good faith to like be there for someone who he perceives as a friend. Yeah. And for all of our like dunking on Eragon having a crush on Arya, which apparently he's just realized, I don't want her to know about my new feelings. And I'm like, buddy boy, new feelings? Hold on. You may have just recognize them, but I can assure you, those feelings are not new. They did not just sprout from the ground. You just noticed the fact that there's a rose bush in front of your door. But that rose bush has been growing for a long time.
A long time, my dude.
But yeah, because Arya's been like weird for a while.
Yeah.
So he's finally like, hey, are you well, Arya? You've seemed distracted and out of sorts ever since we left Haddarth. She gets pissed.
She gets, as Arya's face hardened into a blank mask, he winced inwardly, knowing he had chosen the wrong approach, although he could not fathom why the question should offend her. When we are in Dwelden Varden, I expect that you will not speak to me in such a familiar way, unless you wish to cause affront.
And then she stalks away, the most common verb we use with Arya.
Yep. And then I'm also Saphira.
Yeah.
Run after her.
What?
We can't afford to have her angry with you. Go apologize.
No, it's her fault, not mine.
Go apologize, Eragon, or I'll fill your tent with carrion.
And he's like, how? And Saphira gives him an
kind
idea.
of explains it to him, yep.
And this is where we get the title of the episode, where he goes up to her, touches his fingers to his lips, and said, Arya Svit-kona, using the honorific he had just learned from a woman of great wisdom. I spoke badly, and for that I cry your pardon. Saphira and I were concerned for your welfare. After all you've done for us, it seemed the least we could do was to offer our help in return if you need it. And she does, like, chill out.
Yeah. Your concern is appreciated, and I too spoke badly. You ask what troubles me, Eragon? Do you truly wish to know? Then I will tell you. I am afraid.
Dumbfounded, Eragon made no response, and she stepped past, leaving him alone in the night. Which I feel like Eragon suddenly just becomes unable to ask questions whenever it's convenient to end us on a cliffhanger and stop giving the readers information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Eragon is a man of 1,000 questions, I would say.
Yep.
He's constantly wanting to follow up and understand and learn and identify. But whenever it's Arya says something cryptic or weird, which could open the door to us learning more about her as a character, he just becomes unable to pursue that train of thought. Or when he is able to pursue that train of thought, Arya shuts it down.
Yep.
Okay. Bet. Hey. Weird how Eragon never apologized to our dwarf friend when he was a dick.
Yeah. When he was an asshole to his friend dwarves.
Yeah.
Never apologized.
When he was justifiably having an emotional response and big in his feelings and had gone through something pretty intense and lashed out and stormed off. And Orc comes and is like, you don't treat your men that way. That's not cool. And he's right. It's not. Don't act like that. This is an important learning lesson for you. Hey, here's a puzzle. Okay, I'm going to focus on this puzzle. And like, we know he didn't go apologize because we don't see that.
Yeah, we don't see it.
Or if you could argue, well, maybe it happened off the screen. If it happened off screen and it's never referenced, then it was not a thing that was perceived to be important.
Yeah.
But Arya getting upset because she's got a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And Eragon is like, hey, are you okay? You've been weird recently.
Yeah.
Is like a weird way to front that. But also, Lucy, if you were been weird recently, I would be like, hey, Luce, are you okay? You haven't seemed like yourself recently.
Yeah.
That's like a totally reasonable way to approach a friend and be like, what's good?
Like, are you okay? Like, what's up?
And her getting angry for this familiarity.
Yeah.
Indicates she's like, well, I don't want you to have that familiarity with me. Yeah. And yes, there's lots of times where like, leave her alone, get a job.
Yeah.
This is not one of those times. He's legitimately being like, are you good?
Yeah, Yep.
And she gets upset and she storms off. And I think this is a very interesting example of like, listen, sometimes things happen between friends and they get upset. And you're like, it's not my fault. I don't think I did anything wrong. I shouldn't have to apologize. They're the one being unreasonable.
Yeah.
But you want to smooth it over. And your goal was to help and make your friend feel better. Yep. And it didn't work out that way. So sometimes you put aside your pride.
Yeah.
And Eragon does apologize for like, hey, I spoke badly. It was not my intent to upset you. I was genuinely hoping to like, Saphira and I both care deeply about you. Yeah. We want to like help if we can. And Arya also, to her credit, is like, yeah, okay, overreacted.
Yeah.
I too spoke badly. And that's a very real, normal thing. Potentially a thing the elves aren't capable of.
Yeah.
Because in the elven society, if this happens, it sounds like they would just never talk again. They'd just be mad for ages and not let it go.
And it's also like, if they also react, like when she first reacted and then goes, man, no, that I did react bad. It's like, would an elf have chased after her? Like if this had happened between two elves, would the other elf would have chased after her? Would he just been pouty and mad and angry?
Yeah,
and
it's
not
like,
apologize?
I didn't do
and
anything
so
wrong. She should get over it.
So those emotions like pile up and pile up and pile up until it explodes.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, yeah, because that's kind of how Arya did portray.
Yeah,
that is that they wouldn't have had that kind of reconciliation
because Eragon didn't follow the social protocols, because what she's mad is like, you shouldn't be so familiar with me.
Yeah,
like you shouldn't ask me how I'm doing.
Yeah,
that's not appropriate. Now I'm mad and leaving. And
yeah.
the elf maybe wouldn't be able to be like, okay, that's not what I did, and I think she's overreacting, and now I'm kind of pissed because that wasn't cool.
Yeah.
But I don't want her to be mad at me, and I don't want to be mad at her, and this wasn't the outcome that was the goal, so I'm going to swallow my pride, and I will apologize and smooth things out.
Yeah.
And while he does use the etiquette she just taught him, and I think that does help a lot, it's also like, if like your friends need, the way your friend gives and receives love is through like acts of service, then a way to like be like, hey, I'm really sorry, that wasn't my intent, would maybe like do something for them to really demonstrate it. So what he's doing here, I don't think is showing that, oh no, the elves are right to be that way. He's just trying, he's speaking in his friend's language.
Yes.
But again, the thing I wanted to mention is that Paulini wants to demonstrate that apologizing to Arya is important.
Yes.
Even though Eragon didn't actually do anything wrong, but he was the one who had to apologize to make it right.
Yep.
Eragon did do something wrong in the interaction we had in those last chapters.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not seen as necessary to show him apologizing for that.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting as what we as the readers are supposed to understand is that Arya is a more important character, which we know in the terms of like who our characters are and who we're going to be hanging out with. But like, who and in what situations merit respect and swallowing your pride and showing compassion?
Mm-hmm.
This one, not the other one.
Yep.
While Eragon was called out, he was not required to make amends.
Yes. Yep. Agreed. And it could also be like, again, going back to like what Arya said about dwarves and humans being very similar. The dwarf that, he kind of snapped at might have been just like, he's having a rough time.
I get it. No, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
No. I would never expect the Shade Slayer. I totally understand.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to. I've already forgiven him.
Yeah.
That too, but he still should have apologized.
Yes, I agree.
But I think you're totally right there. I think you're totally right there. He's probably just like, no, man, I get it.
I get it, man.
It's hard.
I totally get it.
Because that was it's the exact thing.
Yeah.
Because Shurganine was being like, hey, you carry a heavy burden. He was trying to empathize. He was trying to show support to Eragon. He was trying to be like, hey, man, I see you and what you're going through. And Eragon got upset and
calls
shut
him
him down.
Shade Slayer, which
the respect.
Yeah.
And it's literally the same situation.
Yes.
Except in that one, Eragon is rebuked for like, hey, you can't do that.
Yeah.
What the hell, man? And we never expect Shurgan to have had to apologize to that.
Yeah.
And is it because there's a hierarchy thing there?
Yeah.
But Arya definitely is over hierarchy than Eragon, unless what she's mad about is that Eragon shouldn't try to comfort her as a friend because he is of a higher hierarchy than her.
I have no idea.
And it would be inappropriate for someone of a higher hierarchy to try to comfort emotionally someone of a lower class than them. If that's maybe what is happening and Eragon doesn't recognize that.
Yeah.
Because like we just found out, Saphira doesn't have to follow these rules point blank. She's a dragon. And while Eragon is expected to play this game, he will still have a place in it that is likely going to be very high due to his status as a dragon rider. And while Arya is like an emissary for the queen and works with the Varden and has gone back and forth, where does that stand? And it might be that the familiarity isn't that like you're lower than me, you shouldn't be so familiar. Is it that you're higher than me?
Interesting.
And you're debasing yourself and don't understand that.
Yep.
And that actually could be the context that Eragon is missing and that we might be missing with the way we're like, this is super fucked up. I appreciate that she does be like, I spoke badly.
Yeah, I do. She takes not responsibility. Accountability. That's the word I want.
She was also part of like that, a potentially nice moment going forward.
Yes. So, yep, I do like that. I like how Ceris opens
Yeah.
That's the end of the Arya Svit-kona, and then jumping into Ceris. It starts out on a bet about whether or not humans have 10 toes.
Lucy? I went on a biology deep dive. But please continue. Tell us what happened.
I just like, it's Shurgnine. And okay, hold on. Also, I don't think I played this about, how the narrator says Shurgnine's voice.
Shurgnine.
Rode alongside Shurgnine.
Shurgnine.
Just every time it's
Shurgnine.
Shurgnine. And I can't roll my R's like that, so it's like, good
Shurgnine.
job. But, so he comes up and he's like, hey, do men really have 10 toes? And Eragon's like, yeah. He takes off his boot and socks and shows him, wiggles his 10
He's got
toes.
5.
Or
He's
5,
got
yeah.
5 and 5 on the other side.
And he goes, no, we have 7 on each foot. It is how Hellsvog made us. 5 is too few and 6 is the wrong number, but 7 is just right. And then he goes back to his buddies and then they start exchanging silver coins. And Eragon's like, I think that I was just the source of a bet.
Yeah.
And Saphira finds that hilarious.
Oh, because it is funny.
Yep.
It's like, Ellie's like, hey, you hear? I hear humans only have 10 toes. What? How does that, like, on one? No, like 5 on each foot. What? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Go find out. That's what it sounds like. That's what it feels like to me.
That makes me really interested on how that's dispersed. So they got 4 on one and 3 on the other. Because
No.
it's 7. We have
He
7
said-
on each foot. Okay.
Yeah, each foot. 14 total.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, my
Yeah.
brain was like, wait a minute.
And I love that they're like, oh, 5's too few and 6 is the wrong number, which I think makes it imply that 6 is like an unlucky number in dwarven culture.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, 7. I'm like, well, is 6 a bad number because you have 7 toes?
Yeah.
So you gotta explain. But they don't have 7 fingers on one hand.
Yeah.
Or we would have definitely been told that
I think we would have been
before.
told that before, yes.
Flip side, this dwarf didn't show us his boot, so I don't know if it was the bet actually to see if we could get Eragon to believe that dwarves have 7 toes.
That's true. That's also true. That would be hilarious.
Eragon was the source of a
Maybe
bet.
we'll see if because I know Oric is gonna go along with him.
Yeah,
we'll
keep
see if we
Oric.
have a scene of Oric having his boots off.
Until
we'll see.
until we actually see 7 toes, because we've seen hands, but we haven't seen toes. Until we see 7 toes, this very well could be the bet was, do you think you could trick Shadeslayer into believing that we have 7 toes?
Yep.
Like, I don't know.
Yep.
We don't know, but
We
that's
don't know. We'll see.
that's
We'll
just a
have
thought I
keep
just
it
had.
in mind. Keep it in mind.
We'll just see. But anyway, so I was like, hey, is that common in the animal kingdom to have a different number of digits on your front and back limbs?
Yeah.
And
What'd you find out?
the answer is no. No, it's not. That's not a thing. In fact, almost basically all mammals have 5 fingers on each limb, or 5,
Yeah.
right. And even like, well, you think a horse or a whale, but no, if you look at their bones, they have fingers.
Yeah,
The way it spreads out,
phalanges.
phalanges, they have those. And it is because we have a shared ancient ancestor
Yeah.
that evolved, and that was their formation, and everything branched off of that. So no, most
Yeah.
have 5, not all. There are, of course, outliers because nature never gives it to you straight.
Yep.
But it is. But the only example I could find, like dogs have 6, but that includes their dew claw.
Yep.
That's on the front
Yep,
and
the
back.
Yep.
The only example I could find, and I didn't spend a lot of time on this,
Yeah.
but the only one I could find reliably that I was like, okay, this is legit, is cats.
Ooh.
Because cats have a dew claw, but only on their back.
Yeah.
Hello, Ida. Can we borrow you? No!
She's like, no. I was so
Here is
comfortable.
Ida, and she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
And on her back, she's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Boop, 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 boop.
Only 4.
Only 4. So sorry, dew claw on their front, not their back. So her dew claw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. The only creature, to my knowledge, that has a different amount on the front and the back.
Yeah, interesting.
So what
Cats
that
rule.
and the reason that, like I said, the reason mostly it's 5 is because that ancient ancestor.
Yeah.
So what that says to me is that humans and dwarves did not originate from the same shared ancestor.
Yep.
So how do they both
Poor
look
Ida.
like? Sorry, Ida.
She's like, can I go back now? She was literally sitting there with her paws like this, just with the face like, can I please go now?
I was sleeping.
Oh, she's so cute.
You needed to look at these paws.
Yep.
Now this was for you, Lucy. This is
Yeah.
non-visual meeting. The listeners couldn't see that.
Yep.
I should have had you take a picture. You're holding Ida and counting her paws. But yeah, anyway, that's just like a crazy little piece of lore of like, here's a fun thing that Paolini decided. Dwarves have 14 toes, and they believe it's because their god made them this way, and 6 is the wrong number, so 7.
Yep.
It's like, that gives us a lot of insight into like dwarven belief.
Yep.
I don't know if he realized it was also going to make some major implications to the evolutionary history of this whole world.
Yeah.
Because again, dwarves are the only dwarves and dragons are the native inhabitants of Allegasia.
Interesting.
Human and elves are not.
Yep.
They would have evolved somewhere else. Except elves probably came from a different world.
Yep.
As we get in this
get in
chapter,
this Ceris,
this is
yeah.
some fey-ass bullshit.
And I'm here for it.
And I'm
I
here
also
for it.
think-
Understand.
I also think, like, just thinking about the way Christopher Paolini, like, published these books, and at such a young age, I keep thinking that if he went to another publisher, I think they would have cut that whole 10-toe
Like,
business
what is
out.
this?
They would have cut it completely out, which I find fascinating, but I'm also like, I'm definitely here for toe talk. Let's go.
So,
Because, like you said, there's a lot of, like, implication in lore right there, and I'm here for it. Anyway, but yes, Saphira has a really good insight on the elves.
yeah, because they see
Oh.
Arya and they're so excited and they come out and they're laughing
Oh,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah.
dancing and at
And
first they're a
that's-
little freaked out by Eragon and the dwarves, but they're like, oh, they're your friends.
Yeah.
That's the dragon rider.
Yep.
This is great.
And I do like when Eragon says the thing that he said to Arya.
Mm-hmm.
Eka frika un shutagal. I
Mhm.
butchered that. I am a writer and friend. And then he remembers his lessons from Arya and then adds the proper greeting to them.
Which we didn't unpack, but I want real quick. They talk about how like that greeting the elves use when they greet each other and they go back to forth in
Yeah.
the script is something that was established from the dragons
From the
when
dragon.
they made that pact that sealed the dragons and elves together with the writers.
Yep.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yep, because it's
Because everybody apparently gets everything from the elves. So I'm glad the elves had to get something from someone
the
else.
dragons, yeah, because the whole thing is, may good fortune rule over you, peace live in your heart, and the stars watch over you. And like the stars watch over you is a really common thing, but it's it was a blessing made by a dragon when our pact was met. So,
Yep.
which I really like.
Oh, that was cool.
But I like, I'll make this really quick assumption again, pulling from Lord of the Rings. With Arya, we see a very much, like Lord of the Ring movie elf.
Mhm,
Very
mhm.
stoic, very, like,
serious,
beautiful, serious, blah, 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 blah. And
unflappable.
then, yes, and then when they finally get to Ceris and the elves come out and they're singing and laughing and dancing, I'm like, oh, there's the book Lord of the Ring elves, because that's when we first see elves, we hear them singing and laughing. It's when the hobbits are hiding.
Yeah.
And when they're trying to flee the Shire and the elves go by. And it's so funny because they see Bilbo and he goes, hark, my companions, I see a Bilbo. And they're all like, oh, and they all gather around the hobbits. And they're all just like, oh, what's going on? Like they're
Frodo.
Yeah. Oh, no, Frodo. Yes. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
Frodo. Though I think they say a Baggins. I see a Baggins.
I
or
see a
something.
Baggins.
Yeah. And so they're like, oh, look, Frodo.
Wait.
It's
do they
wild.
know? Do they know he's actually a Baggins, or that's just what they call all
I don't
hobbits
think so.
because
I
of
think
Bilbo?
They specifically, you know what? Now that I'm second guessing it, I do think they call Frodo's name specifically. Because they say, like, they describe, like, Frodo goes out into the woods and talks to the elves and stuff sometimes.
So
I
they
don't
know
if
him.
I don't know if he talked to these elves specifically, but they recognize him immediately. They're like, oh, yep, it's you. Hi, how's it going? Why are you guys out so late? It's so interesting. And they're like, oh, well, you should come with us. And then they all, like, gather together, and then it's like the hobbits are in the middle and the elves are around them, and it's kind of cute because they say that Pippin is falling asleep and then the elves keep catching him because he keeps trying to topple over, and they have to catch him and like put him back on his feet. But they're like singing and chatting and dancing, and it's like, I'm like, when I first read /
Is that the
listened,
difference between like the Wood Elves and the Rivendell Elves?
no, they're all the elves.
They're all like this.
Because I think these are high elves.
Oh.
Like they're all like this, where they're just like, I think when we get to I'm going way off the rails, but when
That's
we
fine.
get to, where's the place that Galadriel is living? It starts with an L. Laurel?
No.
I don't remember. But like where Galadriel lives, they're mostly somber, and I think that's because they're mourning Gandalf. So we don't get a lot of that there. But in Rivendell, it's all over. They like singing and they like dancing and they're cheering and and it's like I remember listening to it for the first time and being like, this is nothing like the movies at all. So
Peter Jackson made some choices.
yes, and so like being in like reading this, I'm like, oh, there they are. That's the elves that are in the book and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
and not the movies. They're cheerful. And I do like Eragon saying that just based on his experience with Arya, he didn't think that elves could laugh. or
that's
anything.
so funny. They're also dicks.
Yeah, they're kind of assholes.
They see Saphira and him, and they're like, awesome. Then they rose, pointed at the dwarves, and laughed as if at a hidden joke.
Yeah, they did it. The dwarves are just minding their own business, and they just start laughing at them. It's like, okay, we didn't need to bring that into there.
And they don't give, like, to Saphira and him, they, like, do the lip thing, they bow, they show. To the dwarves, they point and laugh.
Yes. I don't like it.
Okay, gang. And one, it's I think we don't like it because it's like, that's a dick move. Not that it shouldn't be that way in the book.
Yeah.
But we get so much of like, elves are great. We love elves the mostest. And it's like,
Yeah.
this is how they act, which I think is intentional. I think we're going to get more
Yeah,
nuance
yeah.
on the elves as we go on. But it is like, okay, rude?
Yeah, it's really not great. I brought Lord of the Rings a lot. Very Legolas and Gimli a little bit.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's where it comes from. The idea that
Yeah.
dwarves and elves don't like each other. Tolkien gave us that.
Yeah.
And that's just where it is. And it's like,
But they don't have to though. They can like get along.
like I
guys.
think I'm sure Tolkien, who Builder McWorld Build Man, had a reason. He had
Yeah.
lots of ancient history and lore and stuff, but like
Yep.
in
And-
modern or in the fantasy that was inspired by Tolkien,
Mhm.
there's rarely that. It just is. It's like, oh, werewolves and vampires don't like each other.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
They just don't. Ancient blood feud.
Okay. There's also
That's nothing.
Shifter and Fae also don't get along in like a lot of fantasy books that I've read, which is like I'm like, okay.
Okay, why?
I'm like,
And
why?
It's like it's usually if there's not like a presented reason, the reason is because they're pulling from whatever the influence
Yep.
is, where that trope is coming from, and it
Yep.
doesn't necessarily make it bad, but it is worth like interrogating. Why is it like
Yeah.
this?
It's also wild because like
And
again,
what makes
like,
it necessary here?
Legolas and Gimli do become friends, so it's like
Because the point of the elves
Yeah.
and the dwarves not getting along in Lord of the Rings and having this ancient like dislike of each other is so Legolas and Gimli can become friends.
Yeah.
Is so they can overcome
Yeah.
that history
Yeah.
and demonstrate that history is less important
Yeah.
than your real life companions. Don't forget that Tolkien definitely fought in the wars.
Yeah.
And it was like, these books have nothing to do with the wars. How do you suggest that? And it's like, yeah, man, I know you don't want to talk about this is how you processed your trauma, but this is totally how you processed your trauma. And
Yep.
recognize that like people coming from different places in the world that like historically had geopolitical feuds with each other, that is less important than the person you're actually with in arms in battle.
Yep.
That is why dwarves and elves don't like each other in Lord of the Rings. It's so Legolas and Gimli can be friends.
Yep.
If you're just going to have dwarves and elves not like each other in your
other.
books, interrogate that.
Yeah.
That's our writing takeaway. If you're going to have two magical races that don't like each other because that's the norm of the genre, interrogate that.
Yep.
Interrogate the genre. No, it's broader. It's interrogate
Broader
the
strokes.
genre norms.
Yep.
Legolas and Gimli became friends.
Yes.
And then on the post that's the post. No one is like, what does that mean? Interrogate the genre norms.
Yep.
And it's not bad to use the genre norms
Yeah.
because sometimes like when your readers are coming in, we've gone too far. Hold on. I'm on a roll. I'm not going to stop.
Go
Readers
for it.
do come in expecting certain things from a genre, right?
Yeah.
And so you have those like tropes and genre norms because like that is what's expected. And also that's why you're playing in the space because
Yeah.
you like them or you want to interrogate them or you want to explore them. That's all well and good. But I think like, again, if you're just going to have like, elves don't like dwarves don't like elves, vampires and werewolves don't get along, shifters and fae don't get along. It's like, okay. But why is that
Yeah.
for you? Like, what is that saying about your story? and your narrative? And that's
Yeah.
not to say you have to be world buildy McGee man.
Yeah.
Who's
Tolkien.
Tolkien and have to come up with 1,000, 2,000 years of history to
Yeah.
explain why it is. But like, if you want to have that in your narrative, like it is helpful for at least you to know like what that's supposed to
Yeah.
say. Like, why are you choosing to keep it here? And if it's just because, well, that's the way it always is, like, is that a very good reason?
Yeah.
We talk a lot about, like, when you're taking your sparks of inspiration, how are you just making sure you're not, like, copying someone else's homework? And I think that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna do it and make those choices, like, recognize why those choices were there in the thing.
Yeah.
And what is it about making that same choice that's supposed to say something about your work? Speaking of Lord of the Rings, we have another song.
Yes, we do.
It's fine. We already did the thing where it's like, hey, don't do songs, or do I'm Not Your Mom. That was already a writing tip. I don't like songs in text because I can't hear it. Even in the audiobook, I feel like it was weird.
It was more of a chant.
It was a chant, and he was like, it was the most beautiful thing he'd ever heard. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, and it's not bad. It's not bad if they just said he was singing, but I didn't need all 5 stanzas.
Yeah, there's the 1, 2, 3, the third like verse.
Yeah.
That, like, reading it, the last line is, the time is ripe for us to kill a king.
Yeah.
Just hit weird. Like, if for me, I'm like, I could, like, hear the flow, and then that line, I was like,
Because see, I would say, like, that's, like, the most important verse.
Yeah, it is I agree.
Telling us what the elves are. We talked about this in the last episode. Eragon is expected to go kill Gabatorix.
Yep.
Everyone, as soon as they're like, oh, because it's the first time. Here's a reminder: the elves don't know about Eragon and Saphira.
Yep.
They've been cut off all contact. These elves are just finding out that there is a dragon rider.
Yep.
And so their first thing is like, we're gonna go kill Gabatorix.
Yep.
This is over.
Yep.
Like that is what. So it is important. Also, this like a Sylvan daughter come by life, freed from fear and freed from flame. She tore a rider from the shadows of Rife. Like also being like, we're celebrating that Arya's back. And yay!
Yes, I think it's an important thing, and probably Nari just made up on the spot, probably.
Yes.
And he even says like a rough composition is what he describes it as.
But I thank you nevertheless.
Yeah.
And so but the other thing is like the things around it. It's like, but I didn't need the first stanza and the last stanza.
Yeah.
Like these two are the important part, and that's meant to communicate like the elves, and also the fact that elves are so incredibly talented and magical, they can just come up with this on the spot, and that he's like, it's not my best work. It's a rough draft at best, but it's the most beautiful thing Eragon has ever heard. Like, it's fine. I just didn't need 4 stanzas. 2 would have been enough. That's how I feel. I didn't need the whole dwarf song. But maybe some people love that. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. And again, if you're a writer and you're like, I want to do that, I love making up songs. I love making it. Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not everyone's gonna like it, but I like everything else around it, and I recognize what it's for. And, and we have song, and culture has song, and singing is important. Like, that's fine. I won't do it in my thing because I don't like it. But like, if you want to do it in your thing because you like it, you should do it in your thing. That's another writing tip. We've covered it before, but it's a reminder freebie. So we. Okay,
a lot of this chapter is them just kind of meeting the elves for first time, describing of the elves of being elegant and graceful.
Yeah.
And then was this when?
Can I hit about a little bit of body image stuff that I think we inadvertently stumble into with the elves?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So all of the elves, so we meet 4 new elves. They're all dudes.
Yep.
But it describes how though all 4 were male, their faces resembled Arya's, with delicate lips, thin noses, and large slanted eyes that shone under their brows. The rest of their bodies matched, with narrow shoulders and slender arms and legs. Each was more fair and noble than any human being Eragon had ever seen, albeit in a rare-speed, exotic manner. And so all of the elves look alike.
Mm-hmm.
They are all tall and lithe and skinny and so beautiful.
Yep.
And we've already gotten that elves are. This is why we've spent so many times identifying every time Paolini just elevates elves over anyone else.
Yeah.
Is because the world and the story have told us that elves are so important. They are the most impactful, influential, essentially desirable beings in this world, aside from dragons, who are very like that, but very different.
Yep.
And so what we've inadvertently said here is that in order to be the best and most desirable and most perfect and most respected, you also must be tall and thin and like attractively beautiful. Even though Eragon says like they're vaguely otherworldly, they're still like conventionally attractive.
Yeah.
And yes, the world is like that. I'm not saying that there's not pretty privilege. I'm not saying the world doesn't treat slender people better than larger folks. Like, yes, that is the reality of the world. But that is also the reality of the world that Paulini, I think, has unintentionally introduced here.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, there are some things that I'm like, we can tell that was an intentional choice to, like, create in this world for us to interpret. I think here we just have falling into a trope.
Yeah.
Elves are thin and elves are beautiful and thin. Ergo, thinness is beautiful. There are 5 elves in this space, and none of them are large, curvy folks.
Yep.
And that kind of suggests that largeness, that taking up space is not beautiful. Is and again, this book was published in like 2005. Like, I recognize I'm bringing a lot of like 2020 body image like sensibilities, 2025 body image sensibilities to this book that was published 20 years ago. Happy 20th anniversary, Eldest! Hey, happy birthday, babes! But it's worth acknowledging because that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
We're here to revisit our childhood favorite as adults.
Yes.
I don't think I recognized that
Oh,
fully
no.
as a kid, but I did feel it.
Yeah.
Like, surely other kids, you would feel, especially when it's in everything.
Yes.
Every hero, every desirable heroine, every character who's worth their while is lithe and fair and thin and white.
Yep.
And that sucks. It
Yeah,
sucks when it's
it really
everywhere.
does.
As, again, acknowledging we are 2 women who are lithe and fair and white, and one of us is tall.
Yes.
Recognizing that, like, yeah, I have benefited from this being the standard beauty norm in the world. And that sucks.
Yeah.
I didn't earn that.
Yeah.
No one deserves to feel like they're not worthy of being the most coolest, powerful being in the fantasy world just because they're not thin and tall and white. That's the point I'm trying to make here.
Yeah.
And this isn't me saying Paulini is personally responsible for body image issues.
Yeah.
But I did read that, and I did want to call it out because
Yeah.
we've spent so much time already building the elves up
Yeah.
as this, like, perfection of Allegasia.
Yeah,
And the fact
perfect.
that we have 5 of them, and they all look
the
just
same.
like this.
Exactly the same.
And maybe we'll get to Elismira and we'll see, oh, wow, look at these elves who have different body types and different skin tones. But I highly doubt it's book that was written in 2005.
Yeah.
Anyway, move past this.
I do
The
like
dwarves leave.
the dwarves leave. I do like, just real quick, when Saphira, they have a chance to like rest, and Eragon says like, watch the elves, and that's when Saphira kind of remarks.
Yes.
She goes, more magic is in this race than either humans or dwarves. They do not feel as if they come from the earth or the stone, but rather from another realm, half in, half out, like reflections seen through water.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
I got off on a tangent, but that's what I meant earlier when I was talking about, like, oh, dwarves and humans must not have evolved the same. But, like, and I don't think elves evolved here, period.
Yeah.
I think what we're getting here is just some outright fairyland.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
There are, like, elves and fae are different, but sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
Some, like, and even, like, Lord of the Rings, like, the elves are from another world. They are fae-like,
Yes.
fae that lures you into fairyland, but, like, they have a real tangible place in Middle-earth. These
Yes.
elves live in Elismira and Duweld and Varden.
Yep.
Like, they live there. It's a real place. They don't live in this, like, place between the veils and stuff, but they are from it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think we're supposed to understand is these, wherever elves came from, originally, they may be here in this physical world now, but I don't think they're from here. I think that is what makes them more magical than the humans and the dwarves, because they are bringing something that doesn't inherently exist in this world.
Yep.
And I thought that was super interesting.
It's
I
very,
listen.
yeah.
I like that as a choice. I thought that was fun.
Yep.
I'll give Paulini gets a cookie for that one. I'm into it.
Cookie.
But also, I'm a bitch who likes the face. So yeah, gotta give you a cookie for giving me some, especially the way she describes it. Like Saphira saying they're half in, half else. Like you said, reflections through water.
Yeah.
Like they are here, but they're not truly here because they're not truly of this place.
Yeah, I do like
and
that.
I dig it.
Yep. I do like that when they just kind of moving on.
Please get me out of here.
Yeah, no, we're good. When they bunk down for the night, Eragon hears them talking, and we get a really interesting. They're talking to Arya's explaining to them what happened to her, and then one of the elves says like, "Oh, it's good that you have returned, Arya. I know how to say this. Drottningu is that. Islan Zardi was sorely wounded by grief when you were captured in the egg that was stolen, and by Urgles no less. She was and is sick at heart." And everyone's like, "Dude, shut up."
Yeah, hey, hush, hush.
The dwarves
have good hearing.
They're gonna report to Hrothgar. And then Eragon's like, "Oh, that was interesting." So that's interesting. We don't know
that the queen herself is
sick at heart.
Not just like distress that her emissary was taken, that they've lost the like to be like distressed and disheartened and dismayed, and there are lots of ways to be like, hey, I'm really like, what happened is bad and I'm feeling that, but sick at heart is a very specific way to describe it.
Like sorely wounded by grief is like another one, so it's interesting. And also what gets me is like, I'm like, if this was a topic, the elves don't want other people to hear this, so they're like, shush shush shush. And so that's also brings it could
also be like, they don't want outsiders to know that their leader is in a bad state.
That's true.
That could be perceived as being like weakened, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So but there's
it's
like, there's like a lot of language choices, there's a lot of things that we're supposed to be like, that's important. We don't know why yet.
Yep.
Maybe it has something to do with why Arya was afraid.
Yep.
Who's to say?
So
Snowfire can't come.
Yeah, Snowfire can't come.
Paulini said, I don't want the horse around.
Yeah.
I don't want to think, hey, I just realized 170 pages in.
I don't
know where Tornak went. So I guess I don't want the horse around. I don't want to lose another horse.
Yep. I also think between, like you mentioned earlier, like they were on a barge, but the boats that they're on are so light that he could lift it single-handedly.
They're canoes.
So they're canoes, and I'm like, a horse's hooves are going to punch right through
Well,
that.
not these.
Not these.
I feel like they're so light, but they're probably aggressively
true.
made.
And they're like, I do like that Eragon keeps, I don't think this is too much of a leap, but again, no spoilers, but I don't think this is too much of a leap. He's amazed by like the utensils they use and like the goblet, and then also these boats, and he's like, how do you make your boats like this? And one of them says, oh, for the bigger vessels, for those we sing the finest cedar and oak into shape. And I'm like, oh, it's because they sing. Because Arya mentions we sing our bows from trees. And so it's like all of these things are, because he's interested in knowing like how these are made. They're not. They're sung to life.
Yeah, like the craftsmanship of like the way the elves create what they need is magical and unique to elves. Like they do not, it sounds like, are not having, I don't want to say like they don't have blacksmiths, because I don't think they're singing swords, but like they have this inherent magic ability that comes from living in the woods, and this is where their primary resource. And so they are able to create things that don't look like anything else because they can't be made by anyone else.
Even though it's like, in lack of a better term, like pulled from wood. So I feel like they would still be made of wood. They just don't look it because they were crafted in a way that no one else is crafted.
Yeah, it's probably like the way they've woven like the individual fibers of wood together gives it a different texture, gives it an increased strength. Like, there's a lot there. We get one more "Hey, elves are so great" thing.
Yep.
They're paddling. Aragon takes a little bit of a break, starts to work on his puzzle. Oh, yeah. And the elf there with Nari is like, "Ooh, may I see that ring?" Aragon passes it to the elf, who turned his back. For a few moments, Eragon and Oric maneuvered the canoe alone as Nari picked at the entwined bands. Then, with a pleased exclamation, Nari raised his hand. The completed ring flashed on his middle finger. "A delightful riddle," said Nari. He slipped the ring off and shook it so that was an original state when he returned it to Eragon. Eragon's like, "How did you solve it?" Wait, don't tell me. I want to do it on my own. Of course.
And I think that shows, I feel like also Nari maybe kind of respects Eragon a little bit more for that. Because he's like, "How did you do that? Tell me." "No, never mind. I want to figure it out by myself." And he's like, "I respect that, kid."
Interesting, because he says, like, "Oh, of course," and smiling. And I didn't know how to read that, if it was like, I do respect the fact that you want to figure it out, you don't want the easy answer. Yeah. Or is it so cute that this human,
I mean, that's fair. That's literally fair.
This out yet.
Honestly, I feel like that the second one would probably fit better, because earlier, I think in the other chapter, when Arya is talking, she's like, "Oh, the dwarves will do this, and humans," and she just kind of trails off, and I'm like, that's really insulting.
Yeah, what did she say? Humans do the best with what they have.
And then Eragon says that. He goes, "Humans do the best of what we have." But it was like, Oh my god. It just Arya's just yeah. So that could be
And so we have like this thing where it's like Eragon has been working so hard to do this puzzle, and Auric also is like, yeah, it's a puzzle ring.
Yes.
Like he's like, I have it. It lets me work my mind if you can solve it. And Auric probably has solved it before, but he still just has it, right? Because it's useful. This elf solves it so quickly, and I think it's to communicate that wow, elves are just so intelligent and graceful. He's able to solve this so fast, and so like it's like almost like you're an adult, and it's like your 7-year-old nephew has this puzzle, and you're like, what? You're like, oh hey, can I mess with it? And you do it real quick, and they're like, how did you do that? Wait, don't tell me. I don't want to know. And you're just like, oh, isn't that cute? Like you can't figure it out yet. It's hard for you. And I'm like, of course, like you'll get it eventually.
Yeah.
Don't worry, champ. You'll get it eventually.
Yeah.
And like, we don't know Nari.
No.
But like, we don't know the elves, but the elves have a lot of etiquette and hierarchy stuff. And it's like, is it like, of course I respect that you want to solve this on your own, or is it like a little bit condescending that like, oh, it's so cute, but he does say, oh, it's a delightful riddle. Like I enjoyed that. I liked that puzzle. That was fun. It's cute that you're struggling so hard with this thing that right? Like that's what it is. But it's also
fair.
Like I think it's just meant to. I don't even think it's meant to say something about Nari. I legitimately don't know if this guy hangs around very long, but I think it's supposed to tell us something about elves. Is also they're very intelligent.
Yes,
and they are able to solve things so quickly, and their minds just work so differently than a human's does.
Yep.
And that's important for us to know as we go closer to hanging out with the elves.
Yep. I think the only thing, just really fast, the only thing I want to say is I wish there was a better goodbye between the dwarves and Eragon.
Yeah, they just leave.
That's like the last thing I want to say.
Yeah,
they do leave because they're like, oh, our task is complete. We're not gonna continue protecting him. Our we're done.
And it's interesting.
And there's no like
they ask, hey, are we supposed to continue escorting
Arya?
And Arya's on that real quick. It's like, no, you're good. You're done.
And all the other elves like look at her when she says this, which for me necessarily wasn't the plan. She just was like, no, you're not coming in.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, right, we're not done yet. What do we think that means? Because there's a couple ways. Like Arya wants to get rid of them because she doesn't want them around and coming over to where the elves are at.
Yeah.
And is it because would it be embarrassing or distrustful or distasteful for the dwarves to come with it?
Into that.
Or is Arya trying to get them out the door before anything happens to them?
That too.
Because we saw the elves, they saw and they laughed. Like, is she kind of worried that something is going to happen to the dwarves if they stay around? And she's just like real quick being like, no, you're done. You did great.
You can go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can go. No, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
You can go. It's totally cool. Like literally being like, you need to leave because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. I like that. We'll stick with that one.
Until proven otherwise.
Yes.
That feels... Because, like, well, also, there was a weird thing about him being like, why don't we need to train Auric? And it's like, Auric's fine. Don't worry about Auric.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was kind of weird because I guess, but, like, also it's like, no one's going to oh, that's what it is. No, that's what it is. Okay. Because if Arya doesn't think Auric, he's been around elves before, so he's kind of familiar.
Yeah.
But if she isn't worried about Auric being held to the same etiquette standards of what the elves hold to themselves and what they're going to hold for Eragon.
Yeah.
That means they don't expect as much from the dwarves that they would, and the conclusion I'm drawing is that they think the dwarves are lesser.
Yeah.
Because you hold someone to a standard when you believe they can meet that standard. If the elves don't think that the dwarves can meet this standard, that is they would view, I wouldn't expect a dog to shake my hand when I come into a room, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And when we saw the elves and they saw the dwarves, they didn't greet them. They didn't acknowledge them respectfully.
Yikes.
They pointed and laughed.
Yep.
And I think Arya, who has lived among the humans and dwarves, respects them. I think she respects, like, she sees their personhood.
Yes.
In a way that perhaps other elves simply do not.
Yeah.
And we compared them to Fae earlier, and Fae can be monstrous.
Yeah, they
to
can.
things that they don't, like, see as elevated as themselves, and they just want to play and mess with. Like, and what this other dwarf says to Eragon is like, hey, elves are weird. They'll drink with you in the morning and stab your back in the night. Yep. Like, because they're just playing with them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's fun. We're doing this fun thing now, and I'm going to do this fun thing later. And I don't really care about your experience.
Yeah.
And like, is Arya, you need to leave before something bad happens to you. Like, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think that perhaps the elves don't view the dwarves, and probably the same for the humans. They probably don't view humans as having any, like, personhood as well.
Yeah.
Eragon is just a dragon rider.
Yeah.
Right? So he's going to be held to that standard because Saphira.
Yep.
Even though Saphira herself will never be expected to adhere because she's so above it all.
Yep.
I think that's what it is. I think that's why Arya because if it was just like, oh no, the plan was always to swap over, it wouldn't have been, she said it quickly and the other elves like clocked it as weird.
Yeah.
It's weird that she wants to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Arya's getting rid of them for their own safety.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense, honestly.
Writing tip?
Yes.
If you're gonna lean into genre tropes, interrogate their origins and make a call on what they're meant to communicate if you're gonna put them in your own narrative.
Yep.
And a good quest.
A good quest.
Do y'all have a favorite fae or elf interpretation?
I like that.
Pretty basic, but like.
I think one of the novels I read, it was the ones where like the Fae and Shifters don't get along well, which was dumb. But like the Fae was literally created from light. Like they were light beings. So like if they wanted to hide from the Fae, they would go into like a cave and they wouldn't be able to find them because the sun wasn't on them. So whatever. Then they like walked in this cave and then they found like sunlight shining through and then the Fae found them because the light was coming through. It was interesting that like their beings in essence was light itself, which I thought was really cool. So
yeah, let's do it second episode in a row. We'll talk about Shadowhunters real quick.
Yeah.
In Shadowhunter books, you've got all types of like magical, supernatural entities, demons and angels, werewolves and vampires, warlocks and or fae. And they all not demons and angels. Demon and angels originate from like, you know, celestial otherworldly realities. Like they're actually our core because every other creature comes from either demonic or angelic origins, right? So all of the downworlders, which are our warlocks, werewolves, vampires, things like that, they are all from some demonic heritage essentially, right? So like the demons and werewolves are descendant from a demonic virus that infected humans. Warlocks are children of demons and human women. Right? That is where they originate. That's how they do the magic. That's why they look the way they do. Shadowhunters are humans who were given angelic powers by an angel. They're given this cup. They drink from the cup. Their children are Shadowhunters. They have enhanced abilities. They fight demons. They can wear runes that give them magical powers. Their children are Shadowhunters. You can make more Shadowhunters if someone else drinks from the cup, right? Yeah. That's it. Fae are the descendants. The original Fae were the children of angels and demons.
Oh, interesting.
And they do live in this other fairyland.
I like
and they
that.
are every other race of these like magical entities in this world are human. At their core. Even if they're like a werewolf and a vampire and a warlock and a shadow, they all come from humanity. Yeah. The Fae do not, and Cassandra Clare writes that really, really well. Ooh. Where they do not operate as human. They do not see the world like humans do. They can be very difficult to navigate because of this fact. And that's super fun.
That's really cool.
So, yeah.
I like that.
And she also has the wild hunt and the Seelie and Unseelie in her world. And the Unseelie King is my favorite. He wasn't the Unseelie King when we met him, but he became one to save his boyfriend. And
wonderful.
As a great one, because he killed his dad because the Unseelie King was about to kill his boyfriend. He's like, no, you don't.
Yeah, no kidding. Get him.
But he didn't want to be and also, if you kill the Unseelie King, you become the next Unseelie King. He's like, I don't want that. Yeah. That's not what I want to do. It's like, you have to, because otherwise your brother's going to take over and your brother's garbage. You are the best case scenario for the Unseelie to have a future that isn't just like that the Shadowhunters aren't forced to destroy. It's great. His name is Kieran. He's actually one of my favorite characters. I don't talk about him as much, but heads up. I'm about to get back into Shadowhunters. I'm going to be insufferable. Yeah. That's our episode. Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Until next time, she's Lizzie Hart.
And she's Darien Smartt.
And this is Eragon.
And back again.